New subscribers. I am Goddess High Priestess Empress Alala Pantera. Blissful, happy full moon in Scorpio, 22 degrees to all. I'm going to give you all a few to get the notifications so we can get started with these messages, because this is that one. This is one of them ones here. This full moon in Scorpio. It's as you can see from the title, this is the moment, not later. Okay. We will be discussing further as soon as we get started. Let's just give y'all a few to get the notification so we can get everything up and going over this way too. All right. Let me all right, so here we go. We in the building on this side. Okay. Let me grab this. Ooh. I love this. The fact that we are currently in a Jupiter hour delivering this full moon in Scorpio message. Okay, perfect. That works. I mean, anything works when it's in alignment. All right, we are about 2 degrees after the point where it was exact at 22. We are currently at 24 degrees, okay? With this message for the collective, which is the Pisces degree. I love that even more too, because Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces is connected to 24 degrees as well as 12, while Saturn is in Pisces, okay? Closing out before it goes into Aries. So there we go. There's a lot of this energy of closing things out, okay? Now, as you can see from the card right there from the Moonology Oracle deck, the full moon overall has to do with results, forgiveness, and gratitude from the seed that was planted during the new moon. And in this case, it would be the new moon in Scorpio, closing it out, seeing the results from that period here in the full moon in Scorpio. Now, this full moon, okay, is in opposition to the planet Uranus, which has to do with your new levels of understanding and insights through adversity. That adversity having to do with a sudden change in events that has you looking at something from a higher perspective, or at least that is the intention of that Uranian nature, okay? So with this full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees in opposition to Uranus in Taurus, you may sense that you may be experiencing not just today, but 6 months on out. You can even do allow yourself to release fully release anything that is not in alignment to building a solid foundation, especially when it has to the lessons that you've learned, when it may come to the false beliefs that no longer serve you. Saturn and Pisces, which is that Eight of Cups energy. All right. So this full moon is going to bring you into a space where you feel as though you have to make a decision now. It's much stronger with this full moon in Scorpio in opposition to Uranus, because once again, Uranus is that new level of insight or understanding, right? That you gain through adversity. Now, you may ask yourself, okay, where can you gain this information in regards to what to do next? Well, you've had Jupiter in Gemini, which is about to go into Cancer, but you had Jupiter in Gemini for at least a year, or it spends about 18 months or so within the sign, right? And you had this entire time while Jupiter was in Gemini, Jupiter expanding on the information that you can gain to utilize in this type of moment while the full moon is in Scorpio at 22 degrees. Now, the significance of this full moon and how important it is for the remainder of the time that Pluto is in Scorpio. For those of you who are not aware, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, okay? And Pluto right now is in the sign of Aquarius retrograde. It's been in Aquarius retrograde. This will be the third time because it happened sometime in 2023, 2024. But each time it did that, it was going back into Capricorn. Right now, it's staying in the sign of Aquarius, which is now giving you more transformation or the opportunity to reflect before the cosmos has to make that change that you may still be holding on to and thinking that there is something better to come of this. I'm speaking to those of you right now who are focused on, let's say this has to do with another person, because Scorpio does involve deep intense emotions that you share with another, or things that have to do in business matters as well, in terms of dealing, being around people with power. So this message here is for those of you at this point of it, where let's say this has to do with the relationship and you have been waiting for someone's potential to actually, you know what I'm saying, for the potential to become something that is willing to grow, or you've seen growth and you're still waiting on that potential. This full moon right here, with all of the information that Jupiter and Gemini has been giving you and expanding on what it is to get you clear about, you better make a decision. Now, 22 degrees is a Capricorn degree. You see where we going with this? The ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. Where is it right now? In the sign of Pisces, about to go into Aries. As we mentioned before in previous messages, once it goes into Aries, everybody is basically at a restart. This is a serious ass restart, especially with Neptune in Aries as well. Because Neptune has to do with your dreams, your imagination, dealing with the unseen or working with the unseen. And the fact that it's already in Aries and Saturn is about to go into Aries is basically going to help you solidify yourself in terms of doing things that serve you in the true evolved version of you. Because right before that Aries energy is Pisces. So you're starting a whole new cycle, starting basically all over from the Fool card when you're looking at Saturn going into Aries with Neptune in Aries, or anything that's ever in Aries. We're talking about the higher octave energy of Aries, because because Aries and Scorpio share that energy between Mars and Pluto, where Aries would be the lower octave of Scorpio, being ruled by Mars, and the higher octave, vice versa, of Mars or Aries energy would be Pluto, Scorpio. Now, when it comes to the ruler of Scorpio, Pluto. It brings you to a point of transformation through inner growth and change that starts deep within you, touching upon those sensitive psychological areas. So here's the thing about, look at the energy of Pluto or Scorpio or eighth house energy. It's taking you to the surface. Most cases, when it comes to doing what's comfortable, it's because there could be some sort of avoidance of going to the depths of the matter or the seed of the situation to come up with the solution that your soul always has for you. But it's just waiting on you to align with it. So overall with this energy, when it comes to, let's say if you have to make a decision, right? About anything in your life. The one thing you want to ask yourself is, are you doing this because it aligns with your soul's journey? Or are you doing this from the ego's perspective to seek external validation? Because you want to choose the former. Make sure that the decisions you make align with your soul's purpose. That's the key with this energy right here, right now, okay? Now, we call this moon, this full moon in Scorpio, the flower moon. Beautifully so, during the season of Taurus, the blossoming of spring. It's a potent convergence of emotional climax, karmic healing. This full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees. It's having to do with the convergence of emotional climax, karmic healing, and spiritual initiation. With Scorpio governing the underworld of the psyche, shadow, transformation, sexuality, death, and rebirth are of its archetypes or frequencies. A full moon at 22 degrees, which is a master number, Taurus energy, master builder number, it invokes the power to build anew from the ashes of what must die. With the number 22 being a master builder number, blending spiritual insight with material mastery, it calls for the collective to bring out spiritual truth into embodied form. Now, the flower moon, or this flower moon, in the essence of the blooming of life of spring, there's a paradox here because it mirrors the decay of old emotional patterns. It reminds you, the collective, that flowers bloom most powerfully in fertile compost. What you shed now becomes sacred soil. Now let's talk about a fixed star energy that's also involved in this full moon. You have two, actually. Uno Kalhai, which is the Alpha Serpentis at 22 degrees Scorpio, because fixed stars, they stay the same, and Algol, which is actually 26 degrees Taurus. So you have these two stars, that Alpha Serpentis, that Uno Kalhai, at 22 degrees, is the heart of the serpent constellation. It carries the metaphysical medicine of Kundalini awakening. This star grants serpentine wisdom, healing that often comes through crisis. Now, for those of you that are possibly new to this channel and you're going through some type of experience and you're asking yourself why, you just got your answer. Healing often comes through crisis. This fixed star, Unu Kalhai, it deals with poison and cure, trauma and transcendence. When activated, it brings emotional intensities, psychic depth, and the capacity for deep regenerative power. Now, we look at Algol, the fixed star, 26 degrees Taurus, which in astrology is usually considered a star that people look at as like, oh shit, because it's connected to the demon star or the eye of Medusa. Algol actually represents sacred rage, feminine vengeance, and the power of the decapitated. But esoterically, Medusa energy is the gatekeeper of divine feminine energy that has been suppressed. Let's not forget also, we got Lilith in this energy in terms of being in Scorpio. Okay? So there's a lot in terms of what's going on around this full moon that, let's say if you are somebody who has to make a decision about a career, a relationship, and it's been something that you've been going through over and over and over again. Let's say for some of you, some of this shit's been going on since 2008. Okay? But this energy right now, with all of these frequencies that are surrounding this full moon, you can sense yourself, and for some of you, it can make you a little bit nervous. But guess what helps with that energy of being nervous, knowing that you are prepared to make these changes, because preparation will actually subside the energy of being nervous. When you're prepared, you got nothing to worry about. And if you here on this channel, you obviously prepared, but you just probably, looking for that, you know what I'm saying, that, okay, give me that confirmation. But here it is. This moon forces a confrontation with disempowered rage, shame, or loss that has been buried. Those ready to rise can alchemize this into sacred sovereignty. Okay? So in this full moon, you got serpent energy coming through, alchemical fire, light from the underworld, and soul contracts and karmic purging that is being activated. That 22 degrees, the activation, the 22-degree activation opens a portal for clearing and intergenerational trauma, past life vows, and soul level contracts. It's an opportunity to liberate the bloodline and spiritual lineage. Now tell me that this is not the most alchemical alignment of the stars and the cosmos right before Saturn's about to go into Aries in 12 days. When I tell you, especially with Jupiter and being in Gemini, you have all the information you've been seeking, needing, and required to have to make the decision for yourself that has to do with being in alignment with your soul's journey that brings you peace and harmony. Because some of you may find yourself going back to something that you used to do before, but in a regenerative way that you're not doing it from the space of the ego and seeking external validation or doing it to prove a point, but doing it more so because it truly brings you peace. That may be an epiphany that some of you may have leading up to this full moon and within the next 6 months. Trust your compass, because that's what the fool uses on its journey, not a map. The fool doesn't use a map. It uses its internal compass to go on this journey to get to the world card to complete a cycle. Right now, with this full moon in Scorpio of transformation at 22 degrees, which is a Capricorn degree, and the world card is represented by Capricorn, the Saturnian energy, you are all at the point, I would say, some of you are at the world card, others of you are at the judgment card, the card right before, which is Plutonian energy. Rising up from the ashes. It's an energy of parts of you that were outside of you, that belong with you, that are you, but they were fragmented and all over the place, and now they're coming back. Shout out to Shikari. She said, I'm not back, I'm better. It's that type of energy. Okay? So if there's a conversation you need to have with someone, some of you, that may come up here for some of you here with this full moon in Scorpio. Having conversations or receiving a surprising message, because that's that Uranian nature. Things coming up to the surface, materializing for it to be handled and transformed. This is not the time to be continue on with something, especially if you've been getting the same, if you've been in the same cycle for years and it's not going anywhere. You got to be honest with yourself. Because come next year, there's the same energy is going to come around, but it's not going to be as easy for you to handle. Know that whatever has to leave is going to be replaced with something greater. Give yourself that opportunity, though. Avoid resisting the release, because it's only going to prolong the healing process. Stop resisting what you have to release, because it's only going to slow up the process of your healing and being open and receptive to something greater. Okay? Now, let's look at this Scorpio full moon, 22 degrees for all 12 signs, whether this is your rising sun or moon. For Aries, this is happening in your 8th house, where you will be undergoing a deep initiation of the soul, releasing karmic entanglements in sexual, financial, and energetic bonds. Uranus shakes up what you thought gave you power, while Algol stirs buried shame, transmuting it into sacred sovereignty. So for Aries, this Scorpio full moon will be in the 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio. For Taurus, this full moon is illuminating your 7th house. This is the death and rebirth of a relationship paradigm. Old contracts are breaking. The question for you, Taurus, is, are you giving away your power and love? Because with Uranus in your sign, it's going to urge radical self-reclamation, while Algol shakes up your self-image to awaken the divine feminine within. Gemini, this will be in your 6th house, where there will be a revelation of patterns in your body and routine tied to unprocessed trauma. Before I continue, just with that, you can even just hear as it's going through the houses how important this here full moon is, yo. Gemini is going to be illuminating your 6th house, revealing patterns in your body and routine tied to unprocessed trauma. You may experience psychic or physical detox. Uranus is urging new healing modalities, while Algol cracks open the fear buried in service or martyrdom energy. It's time for you to step into sacred embodied healing. For Gemini, suns, moon, risings, anybody really, the book Becoming Supernatural is a great book. You may have been reading this book, but it's a great book just from the very first chapter of how trauma can be stored in your body and can cause other situations. Okay? Cancer, this full moon is illuminating your 5th house of love, pleasure, and creativity. Scorpio is asking you or putting you into the position of your joy being, that your joy has to be reclaimed from repression, while Uranus brings spontaneous inspiration. Algol calls forth the creative force that has been silenced. Express your erotic divine self, Cancer. Leo, this full moon in Scorpio, I almost said Aquarius. So for some of you Leos, this could have to do with an Aquarian energy. For Leos, sun, moon, or rising, this is illuminating your fourth house. It's going to reveal generational karma and emotional inheritance. The shadow of the maternal line surfaces. Uranus breaks ancestral patterns, while Algo unleashes rage from past lifetimes or childhood. Hold it sacred. Build a home rooted in truth, not fear. I feel as though that Leo energy, with it being the fourth house, that's a message for everybody in terms of the root of a situation, as the fourth house has to do with the root or your first experience of the soul tribe, your family. Virgo, the full moon in Scorpio will be in your third house, which invites a purification of thought, word, and inner dialogue. Old mental patterns are being rewired. Uranus sparks genius insights while Algo challenges your voice, Virgo. Are you still silencing your truth? Speak with sacred authority. Libra, this full moon will be in your second house of your self-worth being remade. Financial shifts may reflect deeper emotional transformations. So Libra, this full moon, whatever it is that you're being asked to release, especially in matters of your finances, okay, is being tied to you reclaiming your value. So while Uranus liberates you from scarcity loops, Algo exposes where you have traded power for security. Reclaim your value, Libra. Scorpio, especially rising, okay? So this is the Scorpio moon and rising, but Scorpio, this is your full moon, a birth, a rebirth of the self. In terms of rising, your first house is the battlefield of identity and soul purpose. Uranus in the seventh forces new dynamics and relationships, while Algo awakens the serpent within. This is your initiation into sacred power. Stand in your truth, Scorpio, especially if you are a Scorpio rising. Sagittarius, full moon in Scorpio will be in the 12th house. This moon stirs the subconscious. Old karmas, spiritual wounds, and collective pain may arise in dreams or solitude. Uranus will open doors to mystic gifts, while Algo will assist you in confronting hidden self-sabotage. Face it to unlock divine service. Capricorn, full moon in Scorpio will be in your 11th house, revealing which communities and visions are no longer aligned. You're shedding false alliances to embody your true frequency. Uranus calls you to step into your future. Algo shakes your belonging wounds. Choose soul family now. As I'm saying that, there's something here about if you are a Capricorn side, you may be a Leo rising. Aquarius, the full moon in Scorpio will be in your 10th house of your purpose and visibility, being under transformation. A death of public identity makes way for a higher calling. So you may experience a change in the job. Aquarius is what I'm getting here. Uranus prompts radical career shifts, while Algo forces you to confront fear of power or exposure. Lead from spiritual truth. It's time for you to be a leader. Pisces, this full moon will be in your 9th house, which is the realm of beliefs and spiritual worldview. This moon dissolves outdated dogma or illusion. Uranus opens cosmic downloads, while Algo triggers past life persecution trauma. Release fear of being seen as a mystic teacher, or oracle. Ooh, so if you are a Pisces rising, you know what I just got from this? You probably, your fourth house energy in terms of your family, especially with all this Pope situation going on and the new one that's coming in, that's all about fear tactics, about what not to do, and what's being said about what not to do is what you actually should do. Okay, work smarter, not harder. But you could be Pisces rising. You possibly be the one that's going through, recognizing what you have to release in terms of being the outcast per se. All right, let's look at, as a collective, what's going on here. I'm gonna pull an archetype, okay, so we can get our message going. Yeah. What's that? Ooh, the siren. One second. Wow. Speaking of mystic oracle. Get some water. Why am I hearing mystic oracle? I feel that is a deck, isn't it? Well, there's Mystic Martian. Okay. Okay, let me go here. Cause I heard Mystic Oracle as I was walking off. Let me see. Let's get a card from here. Okay, go with one from here first, and then got it. Okay, we just got the blue avians at the bottom of the deck, isn't it? It was. Philosophy, releasing karma, and mysticism shows up. Blue avians, number 7. Okay. Let's see. Blue jays could be very significant. The crone, shit. But look at the crone though. It's a whole raven or a crow. And then you got the sword, the mirror, and the mask. What? Speaking of cutting out what's being reflected back to you as far as generational karma. Huh. Wow. Shout out to the full moon showing up right there. What? Okay. Whew. Wow. What does this mean for the collective? Especially when it comes to 833 on the screen. The rundown for all of the signs that we just did. The mask would be more so connected to the avatar that you use here to play the game of life. So your rising sign. So whatever the information was in regards to your rising sign from going through the 12 signs is where this message is going to really resonate here for most of you. You have the mask, the mirror, and the sword. Now, when we look at these swords in matters of the esoteric or divination, it has to do with clarity or cutting through something with words or thoughts. There's certainly some form of enlightenment here that's happening, especially what we was talking about earlier in regards to where some of you may be, whether if it's the judgment card, which is right before the world card to complete a cycle, having to make a decision about something that's coming back to the surface. and being in that in-between space. Let's see. What does this mean for the collective? Andromeda. Wow. Autonomy, free will, and manifestations. Andromedans. So some of you may have a connection to that there. And shout out to the family, okay, at the bottom of the deck. All right, so I know what to do. How we gonna deliver this message? The Lyrans. So having the strength, courage, and bravery for one to manifest the life that you want. And that's going to mean that some of you are going to have to do that deep reflection about what it's time for you to cut out that's been showing itself to you day in and day out. 5:44 on the time right now. Yo, shout out to the fam. Okay. So let me see. Let's get a look. Oof. Yeah, for some of you, you may have been experiencing headaches because there's the old part of you that you are releasing. You've been so attached to it that you may even be feeling, the discomfort and the pain that comes from detaching. It was this that's showing up, the Galactic Federation number 22. So there's certainly some of you here are connected to Andromeda or Lyra in your star family, or that could be as deep as it goes in terms of what it is that you're releasing. Certain patterns when it comes to emotional wounding that you are releasing at this time. I'm getting, especially for those of you who have been going through behind closed doors situation where you may ask yourself, why me? When you know why you, because before you enter this realm, in this experience, in this lifetime, you chose the family you chose and the experiences that you would go through before coming here. And you chose it from a space before coming here where there was a different level of intelligence that you were connected to, where your emotions wouldn't take so much of a hold on you. Because the emotions that, people have usually stem from a previous experience. So before you decided the experience that you have in this lifetime or in any other lifetime before coming onto this planet, which has to do with love or feelings of the heart, as you look at the word earth, it's heart. It's the same letters, but the H is just either at the end or the beginning. At the end for earth and at the beginning for heart. But know that you are this planet. You chose to come into this planet to experience the energies of the heart. What it means to love. What it means to be the bridge in between what people call heaven and hell. But that's literally just speaking of what it means to experience the life force or the wheels or your chakras from your crown to your root chakra. Okay. 1122 could also be significant. Let's see here. 411. Let's get 3 messages here. Past, present, and next. Past, present, and next. Past, present, and next. Let's put this here. Okay. Show me the past energy that's being cleared up, or what you are guiding the collective to clear up. You know who you have here who's going to be seeing this. So, ooh, wow. The sun. So, the sun could also indicate father energy. Okay? but this is also speaking to your awareness. So what you've become aware of a certain pattern, possibly a paternal pattern or a pattern that has to do with the way you handle authority. Okay, Leo's could be significant, or Leo season. I'm also getting the energy here of what's that, Capricorn, 3 of Pentacles. So this could be having to do with who you are deciding moving forward based off the past to work with or move forward with, because you share similar values. Okay. Wow, beautiful cards coming out though. In the present moment, you have foundations and achievements, which is Venus and Aries, 4 of Wands. Venus is in Aries at this time at the 8th degree, which would be Scorpio energy. Oh boy. So it's something as simple as, okay, you know that saying that people have, especially let's say if it's a woman, that she marries the version of her father. It's something about those type of quotes or statements that have to be do away with, so that way you can actually live your soul's journey, or to see clearer what it is that you got going on right now, especially in matters of the 1111 or 4 of Wands, which have to do with celebration, achievements, certainly a divine union, even if it didn't pan out the way you expected it to. So, there's a past situation that you experienced happiness that you could now be seeing its purpose, not in matters of reconciliation though. It's more so being able to cut through and cut out whatever has to be removed, that you may have been wearing a mask this entire time, or being able to see others' mask. Something about that. Let's see what's happening next. We'll clarify these, but this is just what I'm picking up for now. You have Sagittarius patience, 19-144. Ooh, boo. Now, and then you got balance with the 6 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Okay, what's this that wants to show up? Oh, wow. I almost said the High Priestess. The Empress wants to show up here. Okay. Oh my. What's next is you having patience with yourself, especially when it has to do with these past situations where you felt as though, you know, it was harmonious, but you had to move on from it, especially with this balance and moving on showing up at the bottom of the deck. This is something you've been, I'm going to say it. Some of you been lying to yourself about something here. You can't lie to yourself no more, though. It's highly suggested not to. Once again, the title of this live, this is the moment, not later. What you're seeing right now, it's 11:44 on the screen. What you're seeing right now, whatever this situation is, that you are attempting to see if something else can grow from it, especially if it has to do with something it's time to release, because this is the full moon in Scorpio, is about releasing negativity, things that no longer serve you. So you can have this clean slate by the time Saturn goes into Aries. Because think of it this way, when Saturn goes into Aries on the 24th, do you want Saturn to take you through the same lesson that you are already aware of, that you have already been over and done with for another, let's say, 20 years or whatever? It's not worth it. These are amazing cards. But because this is a full moon in Scorpio energy, once again, release negativity. This is why it's coming through, as far as there's something that you have a false belief that it's time, that it's already been brought to the surface. You have all the information, once again, that is needed and required for you to move on. Let's clarify. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you. Better let it go. Ooh. I heard some of you are the one that got away. Well, let's clarify this. Ooh-wee. Not it being 555 as we're about to do this here. Man. Okay. Clarify the Sun card in the past. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Okay. Now, for some of you, you're saying this about someone, the one that got away. However this is right now. But what I'm seeing from here is there was an opportunity of happiness, but you were guarded in the situation. Mars and Leo, this could have to do with you protecting your inner child, but instead of protecting it, you were more so smothering your inner child that placed you in certain situations or relationships to break you out of that. Where smothering is not protection, it's decapitating to the self. At the bottom of the deck, you have the King of Pentacles, Taurus energy. So this speaks to having dominion over practicality, the way you see a situation. So there's something here about some level of trust issue. Because even with this full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees, that is the third decan, which is that Seven of Cups card. Where one of those cups, there's a victory wreath, but it has a skull head on the cup too. Let's see where this goes, baby. Clarify the Sun card in the past. This popped up. Yeah, see, there goes more of that child energy coming through here. This is something you had to learn, because this is a page. So this is something you had to learn. Learn the difference between walls and boundaries. Or saying that something is what it is that you want in your life, when in reality, that decision to want whatever this is that you felt as though was joy and happiness was from a version of you where you didn't fully know yourself, or what you saw as love and caring for yourself was a vibrational match to whatever this energy is, where there was false happiness. Granted, this is an upright Sun card. But this could also be a situation that has to do with the way you were raised as a child. Not feeling protected by your father. And then wearing a mask as you matured without healing that aspect of yourself. Again, going back to the aspect of you chose this experience. And if you want to know why you chose an experience, this is where astrology comes in beautifully. Look at the house that your South Node is in to see what lessons the soul is evolving from, along with where is Saturn guiding you to step into your power, along with Pluto, what house that's in. Okay? So let's see what else. Look at this shit here. That's a confirmation, the Sun card. The confirmation of this Sun card is the tools or the resources that you were just given about how do you figure out why you chose the experience you have, so you can stop complaining about it. Or if this is an energy around you, if this is an energy around you, okay, now we're looking at what's going on in your 7th house, 11th house, if this has to do with a certain type of relationship or, soulmate energy, your 5th house, what it is that you're drawn to. Let's continue. Look at this. Yeah. With this 5 of Pentacles being at the bottom of the deck with all of this showing up here, that's a clear indication that this is false happiness. It literally, it placed you in a position of what has to change. And we started clarifying this at 555. Because the 5s in the tarot have to do with, those are technically the hardest cards within the tarot. The 5 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Cups, what's the other one? 5 of Wands. Those are all challenging cards. But it leads you to becoming the Hierophant, the one who understands your value, your sacred values, that leads into your emotional security, which then influences your material security. But in order to have that emotional intelligence and emotional security, you're going to have to pass those tests or challenges of Saturn, of basic trust and security. The way I'm seeing this past energy here for you, collective, especially with it not intended to be that way, but under the Mask card, because the Mask is equivalent to your rising sign or your ascendant sign, which basically means this is the avatar, the energy of the avatar you utilize to play this game of life. So with this showing up under the Mask, okay, what it's saying here is this is the journey you've taken to liberate the inner child. Because for some of you, especially with this crone energy showing up here at the bottom of the deck, with balance also at the bottom of the deck, 13 and 11, or if you're looking at military time, that's 111, 111. There's something here you had to balance when it comes to a certain wound where past generations it was the parenting to the child was always off, where the child never really felt protected. Is some of you here, with the way this message is playing out, you probably went through the most intense version of some sort of neglect, parental neglect, in order for you to alchemize it, not complain about it. In order for you to create a new story for your bloodline. Because once again, That is the energy here of this full moon in Scorpio. Where there are soul contracts and karmic purging. The 22nd degree activation opens a portal for clearing intergenerational trauma, past life vows, and soul level contracts. It is an opportunity to liberate the bloodline and spiritual lineage. You see where this is going? So much so, whatever this is has caused some form of genetic dysfunction, or what when people say, oh, this is within the bloodline, whether if it's high blood pressure, this, that, or whatever. No, it's not. What's in the family that's been passed on generationally is this emotional dysfunction or lack of awareness thereof. Of what it means to handle a situation and not continue to deal with it. Now, with some of you having that role, I'm seeing the Emperor within my mind's eyes as we're doing this, and the King of Swords as well. You have this spiritual authority and intellect to be able to withstand what it is that you chose to do coming into this world. It starts with you. Now, when you hear that, don't take it as a heavy burden that you're carrying, because for some of you have been. Look at it more so from a perspective of you choosing the journey and the path you've chosen because it brings you peace. Now, if you got to decide on something that's not bringing you peace, my love, that's what you have to release so the healing can begin. Or for some of you, continue. And I promise you, you'll see the changes that you truly desire to see. That you thought in telling people what to do or to move this way, if you just utilize everything you are aware of that's going to help you, especially when it comes to your blood, your family, whoever it is that is truly connected to you, and within their own spiritual soul contract or agreement that they chose to come into this world to even come across you again energetically, you'll see the shift within them by you just doing you. You don't have to force anybody to do anything. Because some of you are literally the reincarnation of your parents' parents. So the forgiveness that you may feel within your vessel for your parents based off of the way that they may have raised you, you felt as though that they could have done better. Once again, some of you are the reincarnation of your parents' parents. It takes a real one to really sit down and do that type of reflection. Where you're not sitting here looking to blame anybody, but recognize from a soul reflective standpoint, anything that you decide to do from a space of peace and harmony, you want to see how the universe, which is you, support you, you support you, because some of you are looking for that support in other people when it starts with you. You have to know, believe, and have faith in you first. Especially if part of your lesson, your life journey has to do with the lack of that from others, especially at a young age. And I'm going to tell you right now and your inner child, baby, it is okay. All is well. You are here. You are breathing. You can choose to make a decision and release whatever this emotional disturbance you have going on because you're looking for somebody to understand you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're coming across this message and this full moon in Scorpio has to do with the purging of past life vows and clearing the bloodline, literal catharsis where there's a purge of the heart that leads to revelation, clearing out soul level contracts and trauma, liberating the spiritual lineage, the complaining stops now. The complaining stops now. You know that statement, you are your ancestors. Ancestors. Some of you, you are that ancestor that started that bloodline, or at least that energy finds its way to you, especially when you're going through a crisis. For some of you, that word cry is in there. Some of you, that crying is not your weakness. That's part of the purging. If you got people around you that's saying that you're weak for crying, and then it translates into you as a weakness, and now your crying becomes something other than healing, you need to get the fuck away from those people and do what you came here to do. Because all is connected to source, but they are on that opposite polarity to do just what they're supposed to do, where you aren't recognizing what it is it's time to get the fuck away from. Okay? All right. Now let's go to this one here. Clarify the 4 Wands foundations and achievements. Clarify foundations and achievements. Look at this. Whew. King of Cups, Scorpio. There you go. That's having dominion over your emotions, so you can balance it out. The 11-11, it's usually, you'll see those whatever that is that you see in the other tarot deck. Can't think of the word right now. But having this emotional intelligence is going to help you build a solid foundation that leads into achievements, with the 6 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Basically everything that was being stated here. This is Mercury in Taurus. If I'm not mistaken, Mercury is in Taurus. Yep, at 4 degrees, which is a Cancer degree. So being more practical about the use of your emotions to see the value in a situation, especially in matters of love. Because that's what's being balanced out. All this water energy that's showing up here with this King of Cups, that's what's being balanced out. Because you might have received crumbs. Speaking to that soul sun energy here at the beginning. In the past, you may have received crumbs. There goes, look at the 2. That 22, which is the degrees of this full moon in Scorpio right now. You may have felt unseen as a child, because this is coming through as Braille right now. You may have felt unseen as a child, but that was so you can balance out the emotional disturbance within your bloodline. That's who I'm talking to. Who we're talking to. Because you could repeat this cycle by being a reflection, the mirror. Or reflect on what you have seen as, by you holding on to certain level of emotions that cause a disturbance within your body, let alone, and then creates a disturbance in your life. By you holding on to that, you'll be repeating a cycle. or you can choose to reflect on it to change it with the sword here as far as what's next, because obviously that's what's happening next. Let me see. Let's clarify some more about this foundations and achievements with the King of Cups. And presently, you're setting yourself up to align with those that are willing to be vulnerable, but also emotionally intelligent. Seeing the Emperor, and there go the Emperor. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes. You've learned a whole new book, a whole new page, Page of Cups. The Page of Cups, in terms of timing, could be something that is evolving here for you within 5 days, where you receive a message from a gentle person, or you know, it's not something that you want to wait for an apology from someone or someone recognizing who you are, but that's surely the way that's looking from the King of Cups to the Emperor. Okay. Some of you, if you have a father that's on the other side, they could be giving you some clarity about a situation that allows you to move forward. But allow yourself to move forward regardless, by clearing yourself up from those things that no longer serve you. The tides are rolling, but they're manageable. And speaking of having the courage to come up from whatever this is that you had to go to the depths in order to recognize what has to change. 1166 on the screen. Another message here in regards to love, because you do have balance at the bottom of the deck with moving on, and then love begins with the Lovers card showing up here. But it all came from something here that was part of your destiny that had to do with emotional loss. And with this throat chakra showing up here at the bottom of the deck, you can't get to the throat chakra without passing the threshold of the heart chakra. So whatever suppressed anger is what I'm getting. Whatever suppressed anger or shame or guilt that, you know, you've been holding on to, that's what it's time to release. Or, once again, that Uranian nature, that sudden change that's going to bring you that new insight, it's going to happen through some sort of adversity. But just know, if you are encountering some sort of adversity that leads to you moving on or moving from something, it's for that reason, for you to gain new insight and for you to move forward. Let's get one more. Ooh. Wow. This came out. The Five of Cups, which is that emotional loss cards, the Four of Swords, Jupiter and Libra, Mars and Scorpio, Jupiter and Libra, Four of Swords, Sun in Virgo, Eight of Pentacles, and then the Five of Swords, Venus in Aquarius. So, when it comes to people who are emotionally unavailable, because this is the only card, as far as these four, this is the only one that has to do with people outside of you, because it's Jupiter. So it has to do with something going on around you when it gets to that point. What this is showing me here is that there are things or situations that you may be waiting on, but it's not for you, which is why, let's say you may have been wanting to connect with someone, but you haven't heard from them and you're waiting for something to change. It's not, is what this is showing me here with this coming out. Speaking of the fives of the deck, they're showing the ass here. But this, whatever this is you're waiting on outside of you, it's putting you in this space to not even be able to work on your craft. And once again, because of this being in the past position, this will be an example of someone who had a childhood feeling neglected and thinks or feels that it's okay to indulge in relationships that move that way. It is until you go through some sort of catalytic event where someone shows you something different than others of the past, but you're unable to recognize that because you're in this lack mindset or this codependency type of energy. Let me see something. And it's causing you not to see the new. Show me the gift. Privilege. Wow. One more. And the what the fuck? What? Yo, wait a minute. Okay. The official person, the gift, privileged lady in the house. Some of you got to stop wasting your time with shit on the outside of you that ain't got nothing to do with you, and it want nothing to do with you either. Because this could be Jupiter going into Cancer, that once it leaves, every time Jupiter leaves a sign and goes into the next, it drops off a gift. Hold up. Wow. Okay. He slapped. It drops off a gift. For some of you, this gift has to do with feeling safe, travel, and your sensitivity. 13, 33, 6, and 12. There's a lot of threes here. Let me see something. Hold up. Because you have this Star of David energy showing up twice with the Merkaba and the Crone card. It's time to stop investing your energy in people who do not see you. You may see their potential, but they don't even see that. Okay, what's an example? You're someone who is spiritually inclined, messing around with somebody who claims to be spiritual or intrigued about spirituality, but far from it. Only when they're around you, they got something to say about spirituality. But that is the only time. And this is certainly not someone you can learn from. You give them some sort of information, or they probably just ask you questions to make it seem as though they have some sort of inclination to what it is that you're about. But there it is coming through as them being a finesser. But because you have this giving heart, you have this giving personality, you may avoid wanting to see that, because I'm also getting that, especially with this King of Cups, you're highly intuitive. You're aware of what this person is doing, but you see their possible potential to be an emperor. But they don't know the difference between the emperor and the king. The emperor is all four kings. The empress is all four queens. You see? Change. If you take the opportunity to really, once again, this is going to be the repetitive part of the message, to reflect on what it is that you are doing and the decisions that you make. Once again, ask yourself, are you doing this from an ego standpoint for external validation, or are you doing this from a place of peace, harmony, and alignment with your spiritual journey or your soul's journey? It's very easy to feel as though you're doing something from the point of having harmony and alignment to your soul's journey. But if something is taking longer than it should, it is overstood about the process of time. But this here has to do with something different in terms of someone else being involved and you're waiting for a change. Because you may see them as an emperor, but they're still in this kingly state. Because the emperor's showing up here twice as well. But I'm getting that this is you. The person that has to make the decision is the emperor or the empress. The emperor or the empress has to make a decision about a king or queen that may actually be moving around here as a page. You see their potential so much that you can't even recognize that they're a page. Not even a knight. There's also a message about give yourself some time to release the version of you that's shedding. That allows you, that you give yourself the allowance to be in situations that are not harmonious to you. And you know that. You get this flutter sensation or this feeling within your gut before you move forward with something that tells you no. But that human instinct causes you to want to see what happens. Some of you have seen more than enough. With Jupiter being in Gemini. Especially if this is something that's not growing. Especially if you're in situations where people are treating you as an option and not the only choice. And here's another message too. For the women or men, okay? Stop allowing yourself to entertain people who, when they see you and they know that you have this emperor, empress, god, goddess quality, to treat you as an option and something to wait for when you are basically a wishing star, something that only comes around but so often. Because when a person truly knows that you are the one for them, they will make sure they do what they have to do in respect of themselves and you to make sure you are aware of that. And if this is someone that you want to be with, y'all work on that by being together. It's understandable about doing the things that you have to do to get to where you want to be. But when it comes to being on this planet, the number one goal or the purpose is love. in order to step into one's most authentic version of themselves. Once again, you're on earth, which is you, because you have that in your heart space. It's the same word, just the H is in a different space. You have to remember to hear that calling, because in between or at the beginning of those two words, earth and heart, you have ear. And what is closest to your ear? Your temples. You came here to go through beginnings and endings that lead you into this position of non-duality. But that's for another topic or reading, that non-duality part. But yeah. So, some of you could expect or could be receiving amazing news about a home, some level of inheritance. Okay, let's get one more card here. Foundations and achievements. Wow. Not the Tower. Shit. Okay. That's a mic drop right there. There goes that Uranian energy. Expect the unexpected. Especially once you do that level of reflection. Wow, with the Page of Swords. All these pages are showing up. For the Emperor was the Page of Cups. For this here Tower, you got the Page of Swords. Some of you got somebody watching you. Somebody may have been wanting to express something to you for a while now. They seem to be waiting for the perfect moment. For some of you can sense this, or you may have seen this person within your dream state recently within the past 7 lucid moments. Let me see. The Hangman. Waiting for the perfect moment by seeing something from a different angle about possible betrayal. Either you to them or them to you. But this is Sun, Mercury, and Gemini. So this is somebody coming around to help you clear up this different view or perspective you've had about a situation within the past 2 years, where you have the aha moment of moving forward without them or with them. For each of you, that's going to be different. Let's just see what's behind this. 3 of Cups. Yeah, something's coming back around the world, okay? But it's only coming back around, yeah, for you to move forward. Because the 3 of Cups showing up twice. This is you looking at the past while the divine wants to give you something new and choosing to close out the cycle. Now, this new could be something similar but better. So what you thought something was in the past, okay, let's just put it this way. Let's say this will be, if you was building a person, if you was building a person, this new cup that the divine wants to give you, it's a culmination of 3 lessons that you learned from previous relationships. So let's say someone ends a relationship and they felt as though that this was their person, 6:33 on the time, and then come to find out that they were just helping you unlock, seeing the possibilities of who your actual person is. And clearing out whatever lessons have to be cleared out so you can see your person when they come through. Because the thing about the Chariot and moving forward, see, there's something on the way with this Three of Wands behind it. The thing about the Chariot, this is the Emperor in the Chariot as well, is movement forward, but it's precise movement. It's not just moving just to move. This is movement that's has to do with star alignment, or just in alignment to the path of least resistance, where things can now come to you effortlessly. But notice how we are going on here with this message now. When it comes to the way all of this is panning out, where you felt as though something of your past was fulfillment, it seems that way. It seemed that way. But coming to where you are at right now, you're recognizing, wait a minute. Something just suddenly changes or ends abruptly. But it's to give you new insight, but it comes through adversity. Uranus. Let's see what the Tower is. I'm going to grab a different deck to clarify the Tower. Not that one. Where is this one here? Okay, here we go. Let's clarify the Tower with the different deck. Page of Cups, Six of Wands shows up. Page of Cups and the Empress shows up. Let's see. What's the Tower? What's the Tower here? Excuse me. Wow. Say take it as is. The Knight of Swords, Gemini energy. Information coming to you. Normally this is information coming to you quickly about an opposition. However, the way this is coming through in this energy, there's the Tower moment could be either someone blocking you that allows you to really see something, or puts you through some sort of heartache because someone blocks you. Or there could be some sort of standstill in communication, or no communication, from communication to no communication with someone that you may have felt as though that you were going to build with. But the new insight that you get, because this has to do with an opposition, the new insight that you get is that your finances get better when a certain situation is not around. Remember with the way that the cards came out earlier with the Five of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, and then the Four of Swords. Something outside of you ends or gets put to rest so that way you can focus on your craft. And for some of you, you know what that brings up? 1088 on the screen. What that brings up is a memory as a child that allows you or causes you to reflect on, let's say you've asked your parents for something when you were younger and they told you no, or something was taken away from you, and the reason why it was taken away from you wasn't the reason as to why it was taken away from you. Where you were accused for doing something, they said you did something but you didn't, and now your phone got taken away, or you didn't get this allowance at this time, or whatever the case may be when you were younger, but it had a major impact on your life. Something about this current situation triggers the healing that you have to do from that space. And for some of you who have children and they ask you for something and they actually deserve it, and you tell them no because you want to do something else, be very mindful of that. Okay? So let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Queen of Cups. The energy of surrender. Cancer energy. You have no choice but to let go. Something gets blocked that leads you into being able to fully surrender, or just having to surrender, because that's the only option you have. It's a beautiful option to surrender, which means you're willing to let whatever it is go, so that way, if it's supposed to be regenerated and brought back to you, it will. If not, then hey, on to the next, moving on. But balance has to happen here, because the energy is available of unconditional love beginning. Let's get one more here for the Tower. Okay. And then the Magician. I'm telling you, Magician in reverse. It was blocking you from manifesting. You thought something was, but it ain't. And thankfully for the Tower, this opposition to Uranus and Taurus, it's connected also to what Al Goal is doing, the fixed star Al Goal, which is helping you to step into a point where you can turn that sacred rage into sacred sovereignty by releasing past life vows. Show me the past life energy. Let me see. Show me the past life energy. What's the root of this? I just saw leaving, travel, transportation, and knighthood that shows up. Show me the past life energy. Whoa, fuck. Okay, galactic. You a galactic baby. Okay, you got the Andromedans and Lyrans showing up. Now, hold up. Because if you're an Andromedan, what's also in connection to this, your stomach is very sensitive. You have a very sensitive stomach. Andromedans tend to have a very sensitive stomach. Others of you, right now, things are shaking up, especially if it has to do with you healing from family wounds. Things are shifting and shaking up because now you're being put into a position to create your family. But you can't create it with the same foundation from where you've come from. Know where you come from, but don't bring it into the present. Don't bring your past into your present, basically. Type of vibes. What's this? Authority figures. Wow. What's this? Karmic relationship with authority figures. Look at this. Some of you, you could be that Pisces rising, where this is your time to step into and not be afraid of being a mystic, being an oracle, being the one who's connected to the unseen. Leaving or travel or leaving karmic relationship, basically, karma is basically a lesson. Dharma is the reward. But you have to pass the lesson to go towards the purpose. And again, for that, the lesson, what's your Saturn placement? That's going to tell you about your lesson. See the connection it has with your South Node, which is your past life. Okay? Take what you can from the tail, from the South Node that can help you to go towards your purpose. But not everything is to come with you, though. Okay. All right. Let's get one more for the tower. Final one for the tower. 995, September of 95 could be significant. 644. 995, 644. An earth sign angel. Look at that. And I'm taking them as they come out with the clarification, the Five of Cups in reverse. It's taking you from a space of emotional loss to emotional regeneration, especially with the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck, because that's what the fives in the tarot do. Once you overcome the changes that you have to make practically or within logic, the Five of Swords, emotions, Five of Cups, the action and passion that you have, Five of Wands, and practicality, the Five of Pentacles, then you can become this Hierophant energy, which now means you're being given the secrets of the universe as a sacred value that can help you to step into a position of power, because this is Taurus. $6.45. I meant to count that. Normally I do. But let's look at 645. Angel number 645. We're about to conclude this here in just a bit. 645 tells you that your intentions and actions to change your life for the better are supported and encouraged by the angelic and spiritual realms. Instead of worrying about how things will work out, put your time and energy into holding positive thoughts and expectations about what you truly desire. Through the law of attraction, you will draw those experiences and situations into your life. If something about a situation doesn't feel right, reconsider your options and listen to your inner knowing and intuition, and make changes accordingly. 645, angel number 645 can also suggest a change of home, residence, or travel movement of some kind. That's clear as day. And you got the home, the house that showed up, right? Take time to reflect upon actions and steps you have taken and appreciate your achievements and learning experiences. Trust in your own abilities to make positive and life-changing decisions for yourself and your future. Your actions today are steps towards your destiny. Wow. I literally do something, okay? Today, I sent this message out in the group chat. Do something for yourself today that your tomorrow self will say, thank you. Fuck. Yes. Thank you. Okay? Let's leave that there. Now, patience. What's next? Patience. That just reminded me of Catwoman. Patience Phillips. That is my movie. Overall, this card signifies the need for patience, self-control, adjustment, moderation, and balance when dealing with others, as well as yourself. As far as what's happening next with patience, this could be in areas of how you think and work, and how you handle school, recreation, the people in your life, or the spiritual path that sets before you. As a soul, you have more than one aspect of yourself to draw on for support. It's all about integration and learning to blend and balance both the physical and the spiritual. You are an ethereal being in a physical body enjoying a physical experience. Therefore, since you're both, you should honor all of you. If you go through life denying yourself the joy of combining these aspects, you're missing out on so much of what the world has to offer. Why accept a life that's half lived? This patience card reminds you to open your heart and mind, align with your heart and mind, and allow yourself to listen to other people's ideas, thoughts, and perspectives. Blissful harmony can be achieved when everyone learns to work as one. All benefit, but you also have to be mindful of those who are not willing to work in that blissful harmony. Listening, sharing, and reaching out will help you renew your faith in yourself and others. You'll become more aware of the miracles around you as well as the ones that you have a hand in creating. Going back to, you are the one that's here to close out these past life vows, to liberate the bloodline and the spiritual journey of all within that line. Let's clarify. 11101 on the screen. There you go. 10101. What's this? Wow. And there goes the sharing of the cup, the Two of Cups. There's certainly a new offer of higher level of commitment on the way here for some of you, whether this is in matters of the heart, career, influenced by the love of self. Venus in Cancer, Two of Cups. Tell me more about this. There could be a conversation that some of you are having with, obviously this is not for everyone. If this is not something you want, don't say not for me, because exactly what the fuck you gonna call in. Okay? If it's not for you, it's not for you. You ain't got to mention it, even to yourself. Go towards what it is that you desire and not focus on what you don't want. So this is a message for those who are aware of a particular someone or kindred spirit and soul that you have a connection with, that you can actually have a conversation to move forward. Especially after clearing out energies of your current reality that no longer serve you because they were connected to the codependent aspects of you. Especially if you're someone who subscribes to the concept of twin flames or whatever the case may be, and whatever you want to call it. Obviously, this is showing here right now as an energy of a possible reconciliation of souls that have gone through the process of regeneration. Obviously, with that being said, in the previous connection that you may have had with this person, there wasn't that much damage. There wasn't any damage done. It was just more so each of you having to go through your own personal tower moments, and you didn't want that person around. Or there was some sort of agreement of, you know what I'm saying, not having that person around and y'all doing what y'all have to do for yourselves. Okay. Tell me more about this Two of Cups. Okay. The Sword card over here is spinning. We have the Three of Pentacles. So this could have to do with some type of business that has to, unfinished business. A seed has been planted and there was unfinished business that's being finally not being closed out, but there's movement forward. This would be a type of what, of interpersonal relationship where each one is able to be independent but not overpowering the other. There's mutual respect here, trust with the Falcon. There's an alignment of divine perception or divine awakening, or someone may have I'm getting the wheels have turned. The wheel has turned. What's next is a possible investment here. Venus in Cancer, that's emotionally fulfilling. This could be around the month of June, the end of June, because this would have to do with the end of June. Or something you also started during a new moon in Capricorn, because during Cancer season, you would have the full moon in Capricorn. Which is why it's important to release anything that is no longer serving you. It's not in alignment to you stepping into, your higher self, because the next full moon is Sagittarius, which is that fire energy. Right now, this is water. The purity or the pure soul of Scorpio. Anything that is not connected to the purity of your soul to move forward, it's not going to bring peace. That's what you're being asked to let go of here. That's what this Tower moment is creating. The wheel has turned. Let me see. Yo, it's being revealed. The High Priest is in reverse. What's next is something. Okay, shit. Because you have the crone here at the bottom of the deck and the riddle. The Sphinx could be significant. Three. I'm hearing power of three. The power of the full moon in Capricorn. The result of building a new foundation as to the way you handle authority and being in authority. Now I'm getting someone who is at that Emperor Empress status, but in the past you may have moved in a way with certain people that you didn't have to move that way with them because they were at your level too. But you were, going through these shifts and changes for you to see things differently. Let me clarify. Why is this High Priestess in reverse? This could also be what's being cleared out now. Some type of false belief that wasn't helping you to go to the next stage. After Pisces, you have Aries. Wasn't helping you to see the spiritual warrior within yourself by inflicting fear. Look at this, the Star card at the bottom of the deck. The stars are aligning for a revelation right now. That's what's... Okay. What's behind this? The Page of Cups. So the true Emperor and the true Empress is coming towards you. Whether this be in business or love. So this would be someone, part of your North Node here for some of you has to do with the divine union where you and this person, High Priest, High Priestess, working together. Let's see. Why is the High Priestess in reverse? Some of y'all have to really stop overthinking because there's now this tension headache. Some have to stop overthinking, and others of you, your clairvoyance is getting stronger. Your mind's eye is opening. I mean, it's becoming clearer for you. The insights that you're receiving are becoming much clearer. Why is the High Priestess in reverse here? Before I look at that card, I'm also getting, for some of you, something has been revealed now, and others of you, this clarifying card has to do with why you're being asked to be patient for this revelation to come in. Let's see what this is. Take it this way. The Four of Swords that showed up here in this present moment of something outside of you that you have to heal from, that is at a standstill. It's not moving forward. But also you taking the opportunity for the integration to go through its process, which also means now you going into that hermit mode type of state, or getting some rest because your revelations are going to come through your dreams. Let's see. It's at the bottom here. Justice, which is at the bottom of the spread here. Balance. With the Mirror card, this is a reflection going on here. Normally within this deck, this Four of Wands is in 11-11, and here you have it. There's something in your dreams that is giving you the clarity about what to move on from. This is why birds are very significant here for some of you. Specifically, crows, ravens, and blue jays. Look at the time, 10-1-1-1 on the screen. Look at the time when you see them. And look up the esoteric, metaphysical, and spiritual meanings behind it. Take note of the intuitive messages that are being revealed to you. Tell me more, Missy. Tell me more. Why is the High Priestess in reverse? The Four of Cups, another four. King of Swords stays on the table. Something hasn't been revealed because you're not ready to let something go. Focused on the past. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Now, here's the thing. Because the past, this is the past section over here. And once again, seeing someone potential, but that's not enough. It's not enough. And some of you could be in your head about this, wondering, what if? Stop doing that. This full moon in Scorpio is letting you know. The reason why you're doing that is it's much deeper as to why you're even allowing that. Especially after you had the conversation for the 15th time. Bliss is here. Not in your past. On top of the fact that Mercury in Taurus is also squaring Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees right now, which is helping you to see the best steps to take moving forward. but you're gonna have to trust your willpower that you had to heal from in your past. So basically the question here for some of you, why choose situations or relationships where you're seen as an option? 11, 11, 5, 7:04 on the clock. There goes that July 4 energy again from that the previous reading is 7:04 right now. So something about 7-4. That is also connected to the 4 of Cups energy, if I'm not mistaken. 3 of Cups. Oh God. Okay. It could have something to do with some type of, yeah, something here about business, because money's involved. So what's happening next is clarity as to why you stayed in something. May have to do with money being involved. You coming to terms as to why, and it may have to do with money, but you're worth more than that. Or you seeing why people around you were around you because you are the privileged one, or because people around you because of who you are or who they suspect you to be, with the house, privileged lady, gift, and the fishy person. Is also on some people love your energy in the way you move and how you don't tolerate certain things until they become until they are that person on the other side, because they thought shit was cool. One more. Why the High Priestess is in reverse? I'm done. There you go. That's the Sun card 3 times. Which is the card that gives you an ultimate yes. So what I'm getting from this, you have the card of healing that comes out with the card of discontent and boredom, followed by a solid yes. Clarifying yes to what? Are you ignoring your intuition? Yes. But with this coming up here and what's happening next is basically saying don't do what you used to do in the past. Especially if this has to do with, now for those of you who sense a reconciliation coming about, it may come through in your dreams. But it's not for you to go through that experience again physically. It's just for you to see basically how far you've come and what you've learned from that relationship. So that way now you can begin the integration process, Jupiter, which has to do with integrating your life lessons and your life path when it comes to significant relationships, one-on-one, Libra. If it's not balanced and harmonious, then it's time to move on from it. Especially with the current situation showing up as, let's say this is a possible reconciliation type of energy that is not supposed to be in your life. The Tower moment is that it doesn't come through. You don't get that communication. Now, for those of you, that message right there is, if you're the one that has always initiated a conversation to come to terms with something, with someone, this ain't the time for you to be taking that initiation again. That situation could be coming up for you to recognize how much you put into a situation and how much less you're receiving from it. Okay? with the Nine of Pentacles showing up here, which showed up before the High Priestess came through. Now, before the High Priestess came through in reverse. Now, with the High Priestess in reverse, you do have the Star card. So this is all in all, this is a beautiful message, because it's showing where if you allow for greatness to come into your life, and you allow yourself to release what no longer serves you, you'll see how effortless it is to manifest. With that free will, in terms of that willpower coming from the gut, where you're no longer suppressing yourself from enjoying what it is that you truly deserve. Some of you have to sit with yourself and really recognize what it is that you consider yourself deserving of and what you're allowing that you don't deserve. Especially in matters when people are treating you less than what you are truly valued. You a whole star out here. A whole star messing with rats. It's the reverse of it. Let me get one more. We already know why. Shorty in reverse. Let's get one more for us next. Come on with it. Whatever message resonated with you about what it is you know you have to do next, as uncomfortable as it may be, just know that what's next is this Ten of Pentacles. That's the love, the wealth, the health, all on infinite, hundred, whatever. It's that type of energy that leads into generational wealth. This is true, undeniable support. That's what's next. But you have to allow for this transformation to happen. Okay? That's what's being revealed to you next, that your patience is more than worth it. Which is why the patience card is connected to temperance. Sagittarius energy. That's the next full moon. So this full moon right now in Scorpio is preparing you for that next full moon. Of something you began during Sagittarius season. Around the moments of holidays or in things of that nature. Setting a new standard for what it is that you are grateful for. Let's look a little bit more into this archetype. Look at, oh my gosh, thank you for reminding me, Source. The devil's at the bottom of the deck. There's a reason why temperance is before this energy, or Capricorn. For you to recognize the alchemical gift that you have, that when you're in the presence of something that quote unquote wants to keep you trapped, you know exactly what to do to not be. By also allowing yourself to recognize the shadow aspects that come with this. So this will be the merge of the shadow and the light. Same way you got to hear. That allows you to gain the clarity and say what it is that you have to say. Do what it is that you have to do to move on. What's behind this? The Knight of Cups. That's a proposal or an invitation. Pisces energy, Queen of Cups. Oof. There goes. That's wow. Okay. Yeah, for some of you, there's literally something from your past that's coming back. Something that is not what it presents itself to be. especially if it was around the time of this Venus retrograde while Mercury was in retrograde. Yeah, it's just now getting out of the shadow phases. So when it comes to matters of love and value, you're going to see movement forward, progression, but not to be progressing with something of the past that is not to be progressed with, because it keeps you trapped. It keeps you away from utilizing your power. This is Saturn energy. It keeps you from attaining the wisdom that you've gained from going through these obstacles and challenges. Once again, this is why something from the past could be coming back for you to recognize what you have learned from it. For some of you, there's relationships that literally placed you into a spiritual path. That's what it was designed for, though. To put you into your heart chakra. To put you through certain phases or shifts that you have when it comes to the way, what you feed your body, what you listen to, the people that you surround yourself with, because you're tired of the same cycle happen over and over and over and over again. For some of you, there was some type of jeopardizing of the health because of certain situations. That led you to connect with source and figure it out. And once again, going back to what we were saying at the beginning, you chose this so you can get back to what you have, which is the Holy Grail. You have the cup of eternal life. The cup of eternal life is salvation, literally. And which is the cup that is used at the Last Supper. Look at that as the completion of the wheel. The 12 zodiac signs. Mastering those beasts, because there's animals within the 12, right? Mastering that wheel. Speaking of, the wheel has turned, so you can go through the process of transformation of turning that sacred rage into sovereignty. 13. Right there. Which is also here. For some of you, that's your gift. The abilities that you have, your clairs. Whether if it's clear cognizance, which is you just knowing, especially if you have a lot of Sagittarius in your chart. Having that connection to the mind's eye and the crown. You see things, you just know. That could be what's happening here in terms of what you're being asked to release, to make room for the intensity of, your gifts becoming much stronger. Which is why this presence of the inner child is necessary, because the child has an imagination beyond this world. 7:17 on the time right now. For others of you, the way this galactic baby showed up, there is a child on its way. Or an idea. Some form of, a business idea on its way. It has arrived already, actually. It has arrived, which is why there's this shaking up going on. Pay attention to when you're seeing these crows and these ravens. Look at the time. One second. because it's literally pointing you towards love. David represents love. Star of love is pointing you towards the star of love. Fire and water, steamy energy. Just got an image of a volcano. This is basically the covenant between your higher self, the divine feminine, divine masculine, and you as a representation of source. So saying all that within this message about what's going on from the micro standpoint, from the macro, the sun card is not going to show up here 3 times on some lightweight shit. No. You literally have an aura that causes a level of exorcism when you walk into situations or environments that are being called or being checked off the list in terms of here's where an energetic shift has to happen to align with unconditional love. That's really the reason why you're still standing. Imagine all of the things that you have gone through. You know how many people can't handle that? And you know why there's the number may be as high in terms of who is unable to, you know what I'm saying, handle situations that they go through. And people go through some shit now, but it's because of certain tools that they are not utilizing because it's seen as taboo or something you're not supposed to do. But when you know your science, you become unstoppable. But also with love. But not someone that can be easily walked over, where that love can be taken for weakness. Absolutely not. Because the wildest and the strongest beast dwells within the unconditionally loving heart. This is why when you know yourself, you tolerate less. By trusting the intuitive signs that you receive when that's not a place for you to go. Don't say nothing here, because if you do, that person may not even rise up the next rising because they sitting here fucking with the right one. Fuck the wrong one. It gets that real. It's not about putting fear in people. No, it's just what it is. Especially in this first act of understanding the energy of duality before you can reach non-duality. The one who is in that space of non-duality is given abraxas. Oh, shit. Okay, let's look at this sword. Man, sometimes all you can do is pray for people. Say they can move the fuck. Literally open the book to prayer. It's actually after the sword. Oh no, what? Yeah. This, okay, no. The sword, then the venom, then the offering, then the prayer. You know what? The sword is used to decide. The blade separates one reality from another. The choice is made and all else falls away. If you find the sword in your grasp, you can no longer hesitate. This sword requires a clear and decisive mind and a willingness to act. An onlooker may think the sword bearer is hasty and violent, but the most compassionate and responsible gesture is one that is honest, swift, and accurate. Our first encounter with the sword is at birth, when the cord we share with the mother is cut. This moment defines our separation from her and begins our journey of becoming ourselves. Now, some of you are literally going through that process now, especially before Saturn goes into Aries, which is the beginning again, starting from 1. I'm telling you that this here, oh, I just pray that the words that have been used throughout this message really does it justice, because the energy itself cannot be expressed in words of how pivotal this moment is. Making a decision that puts you ahead. Okay? It did? Okay. Okay. We must make these cuts again and again if we are to grow. Decisions shape our life, and the sword is an infamous shaper of destiny. Contemplate the Buddhist philosophy of the first and second arrow. Swing the sword once with precision and commitment. More than that will be painful for everyone involved. That's the perfect explanation for the Chariot. Because the Chariot is the 7th major arcana. First, you start with the Fool, who decides, I'm going to take this journey. I don't need a map. I'm going to take just enough. And I'm going to trust my inner compass that wherever I go is by destiny, by divine destiny and pure manifestation, the Magician. To get me towards trusting one's intuition through the sacred mysteries of life, the High Priestess. To now give birth to this reality by trusting heart and knowing one's own authority, the Emperor. Now being given that authority, one can now connect to the sacred values of the earthly mysteries or the occult mysteries or anything that was hidden. Now having access to attain the information, the Hierophant, to make the decisions with this information, the lovers, on how to move forward with precision, the Chariot. That's literally the journey based off of where the energy was coming through here. Because now after that Chariot, moving forward with precision, because that once you get to the Chariot, that means your next move better be your best move. And the only move, because as it says here, swing the sword once with precision and commitment. So when you make, okay, speaking of prayer coming up, don't pray for something, because when you pray, you have to surrender. Prayer is the affirmation is connected to affirmations and surrendering and allowing source to cook things up for you. But the moment you pray and then you attempt to do what source does, that's when you experience delays. Very similar to planting a seed and checking on it every day to see if it's growing. That seed is not going to grow. Feel me? So make sure your next move is the best move. Not a move that is suggested by someone else or what's best for someone else. Make your best move for the best outcome for you. The sword also indicates boundary making, prioritizing, and clarifying are all gestures made possible by the sword. The sword is a metaphor for the pen and the brush, the artist, fierce and graceful tools. You are the creator, babe. It's you. So much so that your past situation, you started at the sun. You came into this, see, okay. With this showing up first, the sun's energy, and speaking of the steps of the major arcanas or the macrocosm of the universe, you started at card 19. There are 21 from 0 to 21. You started at 19. Some of you that you literally started at 19. And after 19, you have judgment and the completion of a cycle. You know how this is appearing to me? Some of you were around the age of 8, okay? Around the age of 8, which is after the first 7-year cycle. You started to see things, and the way you were so open and connected to source was very similar to a 2-year-old that clearly sees spirits telling you what to do, being able to channel information that people, as you grew up from that point, let's say 8 to 10, you were around too many people who would put you into this ideology. Oh no, that's not true, da 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 da, and that gift was shut down. Or not being able to be around the proper support to develop that gift, where it was so strong that now that child may have been so afraid of it. And that fear caused it to shut down. But it's very similar to loans that accrue interest. It just gets stronger, but beneath the surface. This here full moon in Scorpio, if that was you, that's what's coming to the surface, where now you are living. You could be a Pisces rising, because that's your message. It's in the 9th house for you, this full moon, where it's telling you stop being afraid of being the mystic, the seer, and the oracle. You got this. See what you see, and just deliver your messages. And for some of you, this is your cue. Get your channel up. Start your YouTube. Start whatever it is that you got to do. You could be someone that's constantly seeing things before it happens. You may have premonitions. Get your messages out there. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. This is your moment. Some of you, this is why you've been crying and unable to express yourself, because you're expressing yourself to people who are not there. They're doing what they're supposed to do and creating that resistance to make your power stronger. But you're looking at that situation in a way that is debilitating you from doing what you have to do and what you came here to do. You literally chose them before you came here, because this is what I'm seeing somebody say. Okay, my name is Al-Ba for a reason. When you look at what Ba is, it has to do with what you use in order to have that personality of your soul. This is why you're here. To recognize your alchemical process of outside of this world, or your alchemical reality outside of this world. Some of you have amazing spiritual abilities as mystics, oracles, sages, and seers. And you've been having conversations with people that they're probably those that you're constantly around, or past friends that you still have around that don't get you, and you can't have that conversation. My love, that is your cue. They're doing what they're supposed to do to give you that resistance, which is strength. When you go to the weight room and you lift, the heavier your weights are, the stronger you are. So that's what they're there for you to strengthen your courage to start your channel and let your tribe come to you, because they will. Trust me. And as you progress and you're living your purpose on purpose, you may have those that didn't see you before ask you questions later about how to do this and how to do that. For that, I would say to each its own, but make sure you don't have an energy of, nah, fuck you, you wasn't there, da, 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 da. I get it. That may come about. But I promise you this. The universe, which is you, your higher self, will gladly put you into another lesson to remove that notion on how you move with that type of energy. Because again, they did exactly what they were supposed to do, providing you with the resistance for you to step outside your comfort zone. Okay? All right. We will conclude the message there. As a matter of fact, I do have to actually pull an Isis card, as she is connected to the full moon. Let's grab a card from our set, Isis, and we'll close it off there. Much love to everyone. Y'all got this. Okay? Mm-hmm. Isis, what is the closing message? Divine Guardian. Protection of the winged mother. And she said, this is my sign. This is the sign. Protection of the winged mother. 13. 13. And you must have a proper burial for freedom. Yo. You must have a proper burial for freedom. Y'all are most welcome. Divine Guardian. I'm just going to read the beginning passages of it, okay? Of each of them. You are venturing through a time of significant spiritual growth and healing. There are many changes occurring internally, and they will be reflected in your external world soon. You are protected during these times by the love and strength of the winged mother, Lady Isis. You can relax and allow your transformation to happen. Let your divine guardian protect you now as you learn to let go and trust in your own unfoldment for the greatest good, or greatest purpose of all, the greatest great. Proper burial for freedom. This is giving deja vu, but the fact that I can recall, it's I know it was January 21st, 2021. So that moment could be significant for some of you here. About what it's time to release as well, okay? You may even want to look in your photos around that time, because that's the beauty of photos. It reminds you of where you were, and that could be something that you may have swept under the rug, you know, 4 years ago. Let's go to our final message. Proper burial for freedom. Sacrifice to Osiris, Lord of the Dead. In order for life to flow and express itself, that which belongs to the world of death must be released. There is no thing to be gained and everything to be lost by trying to hold on to that which no longer serves us, which is better left to die. Though it takes great spiritual courage and trust to allow this to happen. Osiris, Lord of the Dead, guides you now to release that which no longer needs to be a part of your life so that you may be free. Any decision you make from this moment, you can, if you watching this and it's after the full moon, hey, listen, whatever decision you make moving forward, make sure it brings you peace. Don't do shit to be proving a point, not even to yourself or anybody else. Because that whole proving a point puts you in the state of the ego. When you truly make a decision because it brings you peace. You see when you hear your song and you gotta bust a move, the decisions that bring you harmony should move that way too. You know what I'm saying? So with that, my loves, that is your message. Have a blissful evening. I will see y'all on the next live. I love y'all so much. Gratitude for the thumbs up and all the love. I see y'all. And see you later. Ciao.